Hey everyone, welcome to my first at-home lecture. This is going to be a lecture on Sandel's, The Case Against Perfection. Um, I'm going to start with some announcements, some general things. I know that y'all are going to have a lot of questions. Frankly, I have a lot of questions, but some things I have settled. I just want to go over the things that I've settled and how I've settled them. If you have further questions about any of this, you can text me. All of you have my phone number. Texting me is the easiest way to get a hold of me. Of course, you can also email me too. The first thing that I want to say is to thank everybody who has been participating in our discussion board on Blackboard. So that's going to be a huge component of your grade from here on out. I'm going to be relying on Blackboard for class participation. And so I just want to thank everybody who has been on, has been participating. Thank everybody for letting me know how you're doing, what's up with you, and your situation for the rest of the semester. It's important for me to know that you're okay, that you are in a situation where you can do the work that you will need to do to finish the class successfully. So if I haven't heard from you, or if you haven't been on that discussion board yet, I would encourage you to get onto Blackboard, join the discussion, let us know how you're doing, or if you prefer, then you can obviously email me and just let me know how you're doing. Um, anyway, as I have stressed in previous communications, my attitude towards this class from here on out is to be flexible and forgiving. I don't see any other reasonable way of proceeding given the circumstances, which are obviously both disconcerting and kind of wild. Um, it's going to be asynchronous teaching from here on out. That's a fancy bureaucratic word that just means we're going to do this in a way that doesn't correspond to the regular class schedule. So you can watch these videos on your own time. You can do the reading on your own time. There really aren't any deadlines anymore for the class other than the end of term deadlines. I mean, you have to have turned everything in by the end of the course in order for me to give you a grade. I do strongly encourage you to try to stay on task as much as you can. That will improve the discussion on Blackboard. Obviously, if you wait until the end of the term to get up there and say anything, then it's going to be a problem. Sorry, the dinging is my messages. That'll probably keep happening. Just pretend it's not happening. Yeah. So anyway, you don't want to wait. You don't want to put it off. I mean, look, it's irrational generally to procrastinate, to put things off. Typically, I construct my syllabus and my class in such a way to force you to remain on task. I'm not going to, first of all, there's no way for me to do that anymore. And secondly, it's just pointless because we don't have, we can't really recreate the classroom experience this way. And so, anyway, like I said, it's going to be asynchronous. I'm going to be flexible and forgiving. If you are struggling to keep up with this class, you need to let me know. If you don't let me know, then there's nothing I can do to help you. I would like to help you insofar as I can. So if you're struggling, if you're falling behind, if you're finding it difficult to adjust to an online format, please let me know. I will do everything that I can to help you. Grading. Okay, so probably you're wondering, when is she going to grade all this stuff that we turned in before this global pandemic happened? The answer is I don't know. My reality, as I've told you in emails, is that I've got 6 kids at home right now. I've got no childcare. And of course, I'm still supposed to do my job, which means that I get to do my own work in dribs and drabs, mostly starting at 9 p.m. And there's just really only so much I can get done because I have to sleep or I'll die. So, so I don't know when I'll get it graded. You'll have to be flexible and forgiving with me as well. So that's just a reality. Um, Blackboard discussion. A couple of people have asked me if there are word counts. Am I going to make your contributions on Blackboard be of such and such number of words? No, I'm not going to do that. One, I don't want to have to keep track of that. That seems really awful. And two, I don't really want you to be thinking in that way. I just want you to be approaching the Blackboard discussion really in terms of what are my questions? What do I have to say about this? What are my thoughts? If you have really short and pithy thoughts, that's fine. If you have really long-winded, complicated thoughts, that's fine too. I'm really just looking to see that you're doing the reading, that you're asking questions about the reading, that you're, I mean, ideally, I would like to see that you're helping one another understand the reading. That's really all that the Blackboard discussion is about. Um, and so, yeah, that's the way I'm going to be grading participation. For some of you, I'm assuming that a written format will be less intense than just having a regular old classroom participation. So maybe this is a way for you to improve your grade along that dimension of the syllabus. If that was something that you were struggling with previously, hopefully it'll be easier for you to just get on Blackboard again on your own time and participate in the discussion. So far, I've been really happy with what's going on up on Blackboard. So I think this will be good. It seems really user friendly and intuitive. If you're having problems with Blackboard, obviously you need to let me know. I can't fix anything on Blackboard. There's a number on the syllabus for you to call if you're having Blackboard issues, but I just need to know generally if you're having problems with that, but I don't really anticipate that you will. Okay, and then the last thing that I want to say, just in a general way, is about office hours. Obviously, I am not holding regular office hours now, but you should just feel free to reach out to me whenever you want to talk about anything relating to the course. You can just text me, and I will make myself available to you. Perhaps not right away. I can't promise that I'll be able to drop everything and talk to you right away, but we will work something out so that I'm still available for something like virtual office hours, although most likely it will probably just be something over the phone. And probably that will be most useful to you when it comes time to work on your papers. Right now, we don't really need to worry about that so much. I will make an announcement about papers in a different series of lectures. Okay, so now we should turn to the Sandel. Oh, there it is. Okay. This is a great book. One of the things that's really been gratifying for me looking at the discussion on Blackboard is to see how many of you really enjoyed this book, really found it thought-provoking and deep. And that makes me happy because it's a book that I assign because I think it raises a lot of interesting questions. And I think that the things that Sandel is worried about are precisely the right ones to be worried about. So I'm glad that people, for the most part, really liked this book. Chapter 1 of the book is kind of just an overview of the general problem. So the question that Sandel is raising is whether or not we should enhance human nature or human beings according to our own desires. So whether we should remake ourselves in our own image. And he says in a general way, look, we think about genetics. He's writing this, prior to the advance of CRISPR technology, but certainly we can think about this question in terms of CRISPR technology and the conversations that we've been having about CRISPR technology in this class. And he just points out, look, there's a promise, an obvious promise, and this points out the respect in which this technology is very good, and that is that there's the promise of continuing our fight against disease. Obviously, that fight is really salient to us all right now in a special way. And that's at the core of medicine, right? Um, Whatever your conception of medicine is, whether it's more narrow or more capacious, we all more or less recognize that health, human health, is at the center of it. So there is this promise of achieving greater health, public health, and of course, that would be very good. But there's also a predicament, and that is that it also allows us to manipulate our own nature towards ends that are extra medical, or at least, or certainly go beyond health. And so he is going to take for granted the promise stuff. That's not really his topic, and he's going to focus on the predicament. Um, and basically, what he ends up saying in chapter one is that he's worried about a certain kind of dehumanization. So we talked a lot when we were talking about Javi Carrel. We talked about a certain kind of dehumanization that was connected with objectification. So when doctors treat patients merely as objects, right, and not seeing them in their full humanity, that's a kind of dehumanization of a person, and it's a way of wronging them, according to Carrel. Sandel is kind of worried about it. He's worried about dehumanization, but it's not really objectification that he's worried about. He's more interested in questions of human freedom and human flourishing. And one of the main points that he makes about, I guess, the predicament of genetic enhancement or genetic engineering is that it changes the way that we think about our personal responsibility, our responsibility for who we are and what we do, our ability to have solidarity with other human persons, and our humility. So we'll get to that. And then Sandel also makes a general point that I think is really valuable and worth thinking about generally, because it's a problem that goes beyond this topic. And that is that he thinks that the kind of moral language that we tend to reach for within institutionalized healthcare is too thin to really tackle this issue. So when we were looking at, say, the Belmont report, which of course is very dated, but it still lays out a standard that many institutions will still recognize. I mean, it's a very recognizable framework of thinking about medical ethics. And we have language of justice, and we have language of autonomy and consent, and we have language of beneficence. It's not that Sandel has a problem with any of those things. Of course, autonomy and beneficence and justice are all very important. He just thinks that it's not really going to get at the heart of the matter. And so he thinks that we need to, I don't know, I guess what he's saying is we need to expand our conceptual repertoire, or we need to have thicker moral language, or we need to be looking at different moral concepts if we're really going to be able to think and deliberate and make decisions in a serious and reflective way about the predicaments of genetic enhancement.